From Politico, RFK Jr. super PAC raises $11 million within hours and courts Elon Musk's support. Just hours after RFK Jr. announced he would run for president as an independent, more than $11 million gushed into the coffers of a super PAC supporting him. American Values 2024 said it raised $11.28 million in just 6 hours following Kennedy's announcement in Philadelphia on Indigenous Peoples Day. Are they seriously going with that, Politico? It's Columbus Day, isn't it? According to a press release, millions of independent-minded Americans are seeing through the most powerful censorship and propaganda campaign against any candidate in American political history, said Tony Lyons, co-founder of the PAC, in a press release. They are angry at the DNC for attempting to disenfranchise them, eager to support an honest Democrat, and more open than ever before in American history to an independent and honest candidate. So I guess I'll just throw it to you, Max. I'm curious what your thoughts are on RFK. RFK Jr. is announcing he's running. Do you like the guy? Do you think he's going to pull votes from Biden or Trump?
I mean, I personally like him. I really hit it off with him. I felt like he was a like-minded person when I met with him. And I've been interviewed by him. He's completely woke in the good way of woke on Ukraine, on issues on Iraq, Afghanistan. And his opening speech for his campaign was in many ways inspiring. I mean, I thought it was a great anti-war speech, and he brought up his uncle's wish to scatter the CIA into 1,000 pieces. I mean, that was the message we needed to hear. Since then, his campaign has been completely deflated within the anti-war movement since he took on this Likudnik kind of extreme pro-Israel dimension to it, which and started to seem like he was agitating for war with Iran. Just didn't seem
in his speech.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch, he did this weird event with Shmuley Boteach, who's this kind of like rabbi who runs around calling everyone an anti-Semite who won't do what he wants. He's paid by Sheldon Adelson, who was one of the biggest individual donors to Trump, who came in through Jared Kushner. And it was a weird event. I was like, did you get paid to do that? Like, is there some kind of incentive for you to take on this non-anti-war line? Because you see, I mean, if you're that pro-Israel, you're not going to like hang out with me. You know who I am. And it just seems strange to me. So there's just been this feeling of deflation within the kind of anti-war movement, anti-war independent media, within the sectors of the left that initially supported him, the grassroots left. And yeah, the Democrats were always going to screw him over.
Yeah.
And now the question is, what is he going to do as an independent? Because we know he was one of the boldest people in America speaking out against the propaganda and psyoping of the country during the COVID event. That would seem to drain from Donald Trump if he was an independent, or whoever the Republican, a DeSantis. And I've heard that at one of his recent rallies, he's been attacking Trump in a more strident way. So, well, it's unclear what he's trying to do here.
But you're not voting for him.
I mean, I can't see myself doing that, but I don't really. It doesn't matter who I vote for because I live in DC.
Well, sure. But I mean, in terms of your moral compass and your heart, if Trump beats Biden, how does that make you feel? Or if Biden beats Trump, like, does it matter to you?
I mean, it matters, but I can't see myself voting for either of them. But I mean, just looking at it from a more objective point of view, not me. I think this election is so much about whether you trust the system or not.
Yeah.
And so many people who just simply don't trust the system are going to vote for Trump just to give the finger to the system. Not because they like him. The indictments, a lot of people who've been screwed over by the criminal justice system, who are not traditional Republicans, are starting to sympathize with him. The things he says about the system, about the deep state, the national security state, the media. Everybody hates the media. It's the worst. I mean, having been in the media for 20 years, it's like you get all the worst people in the country in one place and then just let them go crazy and dominate your mind. So Trump is I loved when he would call the media, the corporate media, the enemy of the people. So this is about that. And the people who have the most to lose from the loss of establishment control financially tend to be the Democratic Party donor class.
I think so. I think he's you can't pull from Trump for the reasons you described. I mean, my attitude toward Trump is I just think he's the best bet in terms of firing people. You know, I think Ron DeSantis is a negotiator. I like a lot of his policies. I think he's running a bad campaign, and I think he goes to D.C. and then he just says, you know, let's just negotiate and play ball.
Unemployment.
Yeah, Donald Trump, I think, is just at this point, he wants revenge. That's the joke we make. We made the poster of him that says revenge on it. And if he fires a bunch of people, I'll take what I can get. I don't like when it was Trump versus Hillary. I thought it was WWE. It was garbage. Like Hillary Clinton is a psychopath. She's a sociopath. She wants to murder people. She was Secretary of State under Obama, and all of that bloodshed. I'm like,
Libya. Yeah.
I'm in New York. You're not getting me to vote for this lady.
Even Obama knew she was crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he wouldn't let her buddy Sidney Blumenthal work with in the government. And Sidney's like a gun runner. He wanted to set up Osprey Global Solutions in Libya, and he was like a long-time advisor of the Clintons. And Obama's like, I don't want him anywhere near here, Hillary. But she was having secret emails with him and like doing what he wanted to get his company set up in Libya when we took over. Just a dirty woman.
But I mean, I wonder if, I have to feel like you're not a Trump guy, but you'd have to think Trump is better than Biden.
I don't think Trump is better than Biden based on him bringing, okay.
I know Bolton.
What do you mean better than Biden?
Well, I mean, look, Joe Biden is the perpetuation of the establishment, warmonger, warhawk garbage, neo-lib, neocon machine. And Donald Trump is an extremely imperfect loudmouth who at least told us a bit of the truth, tried to get our troops out of Afghanistan and Syria, and no new wars. So if it's like, if you don't like his policies, if you don't like his character, if you don't like his attitude, I understand this libertarian argument where they're like, Trump is bad. Here are all the really bad things he did. And I'm like, and doesn't it suck that he was better than all the rest? And they're like, well, that's not saying much. I'm like, but it is saying something.
I mean, there were things Trump did that I found absolutely horrible, like $1 trillion tax cut is, from where I'm coming from, it's just fueling the economic crisis people are in. And where I live in Ward 8 in DC, I mean, you just see total desperation. There is no program, there's no social safety net for anyone, and it's fueling homicide. People just don't care anymore. Donald Trump did some he brought John Bolton in, he brought Nikki Haley in, he brought H.R. McMaster in, he brought Jared Kushner in, he let Ivanka show him pictures of Syrian children supposedly, and then acted on a false flag to fire missiles. So can you really trust him? Obviously, what the establishment is afraid of with Trump is not what he does, it's what he says. Yeah. And then with Biden, well, we see what we get with Biden. And
yeah, seriously.
And to your point before, I mean, you should play the man, not the ball. I mean, you should judge. You can judge me based on my work and the things I do. I think that's only fair.
I think all those criticisms of Trump are absolutely fair. Yeah. And then it's still like he crossed the DMZ into North Korea, and it's like no new wars, perpetuation of wars for sure. An effort to wind down and get us out of Afghanistan. When he brought the Taliban to Camp David, he got attacked for it. And I'm like, negotiate. We're done with this. And he tried getting our troops out of Syria, except for the oil. And they lied to the American people about it. And my attitude is just, I'm not saying you have to support him or like him, but it's like, and you don't have to comment at all. That's up to you. I'm just saying for me, I look at it like, yeah, Trump may be in general bad. I don't know if a president could be good, but he's better than that. He's the best president I've had in my life.
No, I understand why people feel that way. As a journalist, I'm just not going to be drawn into being like a court voice for a candidate. It's because they're always going to disappoint you. What Trump shows is just he lifts the mask on the fact that there is what you could call a deep state.
I just loved when he was in front of the helicopter or whatever, and he was like, we're doing this weapons deal with Syria. It's going to be great for the economy. And then all the anti-war left, they were just like, he just said it. He just came out and said it.
What did he do with the drone weapon program? Luke was saying on the show that he gave control of drone assaults to the generals. Like, so he no longer made the decision of who's going to die. He's like, he kind of washed his hands of it and gave, what was that?
I mean, I know that he gave the CIA unprecedented powers to carry out black operations, including assassinations. The CIA which is funny because the CIA also was working against Trump. And I mean, John Brennan was running Russiagate. And once you're in the CIA, you're always in the CIA. Like John Brennan being former CIA and then going on MSNBC and calling Trump a traitor. That's he's speaking for a wing of the CIA. But meanwhile, the black ops guys in the CIA were getting to do whatever they wanted. So that's not cool.
Yeah, I mean, they say no new wars, but he empowered the deep state by giving CIA authority to do secret assassinations. And he also, the Abraham Accords on their face sound neat, but like you were saying earlier, it put the Palestinian people in an icebox and gave the kings of Israel and Saudi Arabia,
the actual head
king of Israel,
not literal kings, but the leaders, I should say.
Yeah, like Emirates and Saudi
the
Arabia.
Wahhabi forces, like the most backwards forces in the Middle East, who are
true.
the least democratic, were going to get a complete win-win situation under the Abraham Accords. But so much for that. But so I don't think you can trust what Trump will do.
It was his personnel that really.
I think he'll fire people.
His personnel
That's why I'm
choices
just like-
were abysmal.
So that's
and
a
I'm not
question.
saying they're all.
What happens if he fires people? What happens if he really starts draining the swamp? What happens if he goes into the State Department and just is like, you're all out of here. No more USAID, none of this crap. Oh, FBI, you guys are going on trial for
Unalaska.
wiretapping me.
Just send them all to Unalaska. I feel bad for the people of Unalaska when I say
was
that.
so
They're
depressed.
good people.
I followed a BLM march up Pennsylvania Ave, and they walked right by the J. Edgar Hoover FBI building as if it didn't even exist. And I was like, that's how I knew this whole thing was. This is the guy that like wiretapped Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And they're just like, "Ooh, we're gonna go somewhere. But anyway, if Trump did that, I know from a source who was like down with Trump that one of Trump's greatest fears was assassination.
I wouldn't be surprised. The new report is that he only uses individual bottles of ketchup that are sealed.
He is not as dumb as I thought.
And I knew people that were on the campaign trail with him in 2015 said he only eats McDonald's. And the joke was he just loves fast food. No. The issue is that when you walk into a McDonald's, the burger's already made, and you can say that one right there, and you know it's not been tampered with. Whereas if you go to most restaurants, who knows what they're doing?
So you're saying the assumption is that if he tried to fire everybody, they'd kill him?
Well, take Reagan being shot by John Hinckley to impress Jodie Foster out of the equation. When was the last political assassination, significant political assassination in this country?
Do you mean like admitted and acknowledged?
Yeah, acknowledged.
Because acknowledged, we like then we'll skip over JFK and we'll.
Well, I mean, there were more recent ones than that. George Wallace.
Oh, sure, yeah, right.
Okay, George Wallace was running as I think an independent candidate in '72, and he was going to harm Nixon because he had a lot of Republican, Southern support. So he gets taken out.
So you think Kennedy's at risk? The
Of
Kennedy family,
course. I mean,
the Kennedy
of course.
family history is not confidence building.
I don't think the Democrats are threatened by him right now. That's my sense, especially as an independent. I don't think they're threatened by Cornel West. I think Cornel West effectively dropped out of the race.
Yeah.
And he just wants to have a platform to go around giving talks.
Yeah, we could have him on the show. He's pretty cool.
He's a very wonderful human being, but he doesn't have a platform.
Right.
He just makes proclamations and uses a lot of isms. It's disappointing to me because he's someone I have so much common ground with. But I don't think there's a threat right now to the establishment other than Trump. And obviously Trump's kind of like the front runner. So what will they do if he actually fulfills those promises? If he goes like dark Brandon Trump?
Is that a rhetorical question?
I mean, yeah, I'm just putting it out on the table so I don't have to do all
Alex
the talking.
Jones said that his plane would go down in a plane crash. That's how that they would kill him. I don't know.
And like a lot of people would celebrate.
Yeah.
That would be it.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.